there's nothing better than coach speak after a win or a loss.
Okay, so I tried to find good stuff.
Okay.
I'm trying to get away from the cliche talk of coach stuff. But there's every Monday, Tuesday, there's a collection of coach speak, coach sound that we have to sift through and get to the bottom of. And this one's the first one I'm going to give you dibs is the childish. I think this is like the most childish football fight I have ever heard of. Here is Coach Belichick after his win at UNC Charlotte.
Obviously, reports this week of New England Patriots scouts being banned from practice. Just wanted to give you the opportunity to comment on that and provide some sort of explanation on that.
Yeah, well, no, it's clear that I'm not welcome there around their facility, and so they're not welcome at ours. Very simple.
I can't believe this is going on.
I can't believe, first, where did the girl get the question? But second, are scouts allowed at practice in college?
Oh, yeah. We allow some people to get some looky-loos every now and then. Coaches will probably get a call from an organization. Jackson Mitchell was a big-time prospect a couple years ago for UConn as a middle linebacker. I know the Baltimore Ravens, who I think eventually added him to the squad. He was an undrafted free agent, and that's where he ended up trying out for the team. But I saw them running through the rent every single Saturday, and I know them and multiple coaching staffs or scouts from organizations were invited to check them out.
But what I meant was I didn't even know this was a thing.
Yeah.
I mean, so it is a thing, but unless someone brings it up that you kick them out.
So true.
How would that become a story?
Nobody would ever have known.
That's what I'm saying. Nobody would have known. Nobody. I don't know. It's not that I don't care or care.
Right.
I didn't even know it existed.
Right. And a lot of people don't because it is a thing to be friends with scouts. Like Coach Moore is great to have for UConn players because he has been there, done that in the world of the NFL and has so many relationships. And when teams, or he might even reach out because, UConn's not on television all the time. They're not in the forefront of people's minds. Right. And if coach has a special talent, it's tough to evaluate offensive linemen or defensive linemen all the time. So he might reach out to the Falcons. He used to coach there.
Right.
Hey, you guys might want to come and send somebody out to see this defensive lineman. Like, nobody knows about him. He's 23. He didn't get a lot of looks in high school, and I think he could be really valuable at the end of a draft. Like, that stuff is a relationship-based situation all through sports, not just football. Baseball, they do it all the time. Baseball, they'll ask, hey, when is this kid going to pitch next? Actually, I got him slated for Saturday. Right. He'll probably come in the 6th. I can get you tickets and I'll set you up.
When I was coaching on the West Coast, I had a really good pitcher, and he went to college. And while he was at college, he was at, I think, Portland State, and he was pitching really well. I called the Reds. I'm like, listen, take a look at this kid. He's a late-round pick.
Right.
This is when they had 50 rounds. Now they only have 20. And they ended up drafting him in the 46th round.
Right.
And, yeah, he lasted a couple of years and stuff like that. He really didn't have the velocity that pro teams were looking for 15 years ago.
Now, you could have came out and said, I'm not letting the Oakland A's come through here. I'm just not. It's just my personal preference. And then, nobody was even asking. A's weren't even asking you.
That's
and
the thing.
You could just
not
throw that out there.
Right.
And then, did you hear? Rob Dibble is not letting any Oakland A's scouts over to Eastlake High School. And it would be a big story, especially if this was 2025 when you were doing this.
Right.
So that's where that is right now. I do think Jordan Hawkins is our guy from UConn.
Yeah, your guy from UConn.
Hudson.
Jordan
Hudson,
right.
Is that her name?
Yeah.
I think she's got something to do with this. I think it's like, hey, if they're not going to be mean to you.
Now, do you have the Vrabel side of this?
No.
All right, so let me explain. Vrabel's side was like, well, he was just at the Brady statue unveiling. And so, as far as I know, he's allowed at our facilities because Belichick said, well, I'm not allowed at their facilities. Vrabel says that's not true.
Anytime he wants.
Yeah. But this is like so petty.
So childish.
How are we here?
I don't know.
This guy's a Hall of Fame coach.
Jordan Hudson is why we're here, I think. I think that's what I'm going to lean towards. Sorry, I apologize for Jordan Hawkins on that one. Hope he's All right, I miss a good, snarky reply to reporters. I think we're missing that in our college coaches. Usually we get it for some basketball. Our man, Coach Calhoun, is famous for one, going back.
Not one more dime.
Not a dime
Not a dime back.
Word of advice: shut up. All right, here's Coach Sarkisian getting asked a question about Arch's struggles.
Arch Manning seemed to be having some throwing pains by the
According to
fourth
who?
quarter. Arch?
Arch said that to you?
No.
Oh, according to who?
It just looked like he was.
He doesn't have any.
Is there an explanation to why it looked like that?
I don't know. I've never filmed any of you guys when you're using the bathroom, so I don't know what faces you make when you're doing that.
Perfect. These are the reasons I miss Coach Spurrier. Coach Spurrier was good for these, like 3 a week. And then, like, now we got to wait for one from somewhere. Coach Sark, you are my guy. I'm rooting Texas just to have more of these post-game pressers or post-practice pressers. Wasn't much of a game against San Jose State.
Well, I mean, listen, the kid threw well, and a couple times he didn't, but he's still kid.
But does this reporter know of the Eli face?
Oh, Eli used to always make faces,
Right.
and he made a lot more on the sidelines.
Arch is
when
going
he
to
wasn't
have
doing
his
anything
own
right.
face. He's going to have weird, stupid looks on his face. when he
Although
throws in
Eli
leads
and
interception.
Peyton say that he's adopted until this week.
Yeah, this
Oh,
week.
no, he's ours.
4 touchdowns in
Yeah.
5 minutes. All of a sudden, he's back in the family. Yes, I like how that works, though. I like how that works. You play good, you're a Manning. You don't. We got blood tests, questions. Maury Povich, got to make some calls. I love Sarkisian, though.
You're not the father.
This, I think, is the best quote for all Giants fans today. Is it Darius Slayton? Slayton,
Yeah.
the wide receiver for the New York Giants, was asked who he thinks the starting quarterback should be for the Giants.
I think that's the natural thing these days, in the sport of football, which is unfortunate at all levels of football, even at the college level, the pro level, is that everybody wants new as soon as they think that things aren't going well. But the reality is that things take time, and not everything is just a 9-1-1 situation. We have good coaches, we have good quarterback in Russell Wilson, and it's 1 week, and I think in the history of football, if you kind of look at the history of football, it hasn't always served people well to just throw people in the fire, because I know that I wouldn't want to be thrown in the fire like that. Obviously Jackson believes in himself. He obviously believes he's a good football player. We believe he's a good football player. But at the same time, this league is hard. This league is tough. And, you see players get chewed up and spit out all the time by this league, which is something that I would never want to happen to him. So, as far as all that goes, like I said, he said Russ is our starter. Russ our starter is for however long, whatever. And he's going to play good ball. We're going to play good ball as an offense. And whenever Jackson's time comes, it comes.
That's coming from a receiver from that offense that was really struggling to move the football, I would say, especially to punch it into the end zone. But I've heard even Malik Neighbors come out and say,
Right.
Some support for Russell Wilson to stay as the quarterback one.
Well, it's obvious when you lose, you're going to be frustrated. Listen, Syracuse won over UConn, and their coach is frustrated. You want things to be executed properly because you've gone over them in practice. Football is the biggest when it comes to this kind of stuff. You didn't invest $10.5 million in Russell Wilson to just throw him out with the bathwater week one. I'm reading this story on CBS Sports, and this guy, first of all, this guy's not a coach that's writing this. So it's easy for you to say, turn to Jackson Dart. What if you turn to Jackson Dart and his first 3 starts suck? Now what do? You go back to Russell Wilson? I mean, because then now you'll be going, this guy's terrible, man. Now what are you going to go to the third string guy? You're going to go get another quarterback? I mean, it's so a lot of times the alternative isn't always better than what you're doing right now. Here's the thing. Russell Wilson's a veteran. He's a Super Bowl champ. He's got a ring. There's not many guys that can walk around locker rooms in the NFL and say, hey, I quarterbacked a championship team. He knows what it takes to win a championship. Should have two rings. Had they given the ball to Marshawn Lynch, they probably have 2 rings. So I'm not big on, hey, let's just change this guy for the sake of change. Now, if this guy throws 4 interceptions against the Cowboys, I also give the Cowboys credit. I kind of give the Commanders some credit. They were well prepared for this guy.
I was going to say that. Dan Quinn knows what he's doing
Exactly.
on the other side. And
The Commanders made the postseason last year.
Right.
So it's kind of like, we love to just focus on the negative. I like to tip my hat to the team that just kicked my ass and not be like, okay, I'm not going to give this guy. You're not giving him another chance. He's the guy you brought in to be number one. Jackson Dart, yes, he's your future. A couple years ago, if you don't remember this, but I do, I've been covering the Giants now here locally for 11 years. You've been with me almost the same amount of time. You've gone through how many quarterbacks? The Jets have gone through how many quarterbacks? You brought in future Hall of Famer Aaron Rodgers to try to help the Jets. You had Daniel Jones that now is playing better in a different franchise uniform. But when he was here, you couldn't wait to get rid of Daniel Jones. So it's not always a quick fix is going to help the entire team. Giants have been struggling for years. Offensive line, special teams. You've gone through different coaches, and we joke about who's going to get fired first. But when you look as awful as the Giants or the Dolphins or some of these other teams, obviously something that you did to prepare your team didn't work. So everybody's got to try to regroup, make some adjustments, come back, and now you could be either 1-1 or 0-2. Now, if you're 0-2, maybe, or 0-4, you start thinking maybe we should go in a different direction. But God, it was 1 week.
I totally agree with what Slayton said, and I do think that is a reality of football. But the reality of the NFL is they are not going to wait around for things to get better. Yes, that if you throw Jackson Dart in the fire and he's horrible, you may never hear from him ever again. Right. It might ruin his career. That is so 100% true. That could happen. But Daboll's going to get fired before he makes that decision. Like, they are going to take the decision away from him. If management, who is already putting these two guys, Joe Shane as well, general manager, on thin ice to start this season, you're not allowed 3 stinkers. You're not.
No.
You might be allowed 3 stinkers if you just got a new contract and you're coming off a playoff run. If you're Dan Quinn.
And this is where I agree. To back up your point, they're 18-33-1 under Daboll.
Thin ice.
Okay? Thin ice. Not just him, though. Last decade, 52-99. Last 10 years. Okay?
They've been waiting.
Giants have been awful for a decade. It's like my Cowboys for 3 decades. Yeah. You haven't won anything.
And that's another good point is when you see the success of the Commanders and the success of the Eagles, the urgency does get a little bit more ramped up than what it has been. I know it's not a 9-1-1 situation like Slayton said, but the urgency is always there in this league. And the upper brass of the Giants, if they know what they're doing, they're not going to wait around for more stinkers to happen. It's a great quote, though, and I agree with it, but I don't know if that's the way the NFL is going to operate anymore. All right, we have to have Dan Campbell in the mix somehow, some way, when we do some coach speak on the Rob Dibble Show.
No, listen, Ben's my friend. He's always going to be my friend, but...
Didn't know he was going to talk about me, though.
But nothing about that's going to change, We're going in getting ready to play Chicago. We're going to win this game. We have to. We got to find a way to clean things up and do what we got to do. And they're going to try to do the same thing. It's like every week.
I always feel so bad for Dan Campbell when he talks. It's just like he puts me in a mood of like desperation, man. But he's talking about not Ben Darnell. I thought he was
Ben Johnson
when I heard that. But yeah, Ben Johnson, who is now the head coach of the Bears, former offensive coordinator of the Lions. I would think from a team that looked like they could score 35 points against anybody. I don't know if it was the Parsons effect, if it was Lambeau Field, if it was the first week jitters, but the Lions did not look like that team in the last 2 years against the Green Bay Packers. And now taking on the Bears, who does have Ben Johnson, who looked good in the script in the first half last night. This is going to be an interesting divisional battle in week 2 for the Lions-Bears.
Well, and think about this as well. I mean, I look at the different quarterbacks. You had a veteran in Jared Goff that you're designing plays for him to make and execute properly. Now you got a younger Caleb Williams that you're hoping he is going to get some of this system that you've put in place. But how long have you been working with him? So I kind of think that, Ben Johnson was in a situation where he had a more experienced, seasoned quarterback. And that brings us right back to Russell Wilson. 14 years in the league, man. 14 years you've survived in the NFL. And, but you brought this up yesterday. Yeah, you could be hurting your Hall of Fame statistics, but at the same time, I think he's going to be a Hall of Famer. I think it's a no-doubter. But then people will bring up the end of your career. That's a lot of people. I still think Oral Hershiser should probably be in the MLB Hall of Fame, but he stuck around 5 years too long, and you forget the great he did the first 15 years, and you focus on that last 5 years. So I think it happens a lot in football and baseball and basketball that sometimes when you have an awful ending to your career, a lot of people remember that more than the beginning.
Washington Commanders were in the face of Russell Wilson. I think Dan Quinn loves having Bobby Wagner as that linebacker because it's like another coach out there that he's communicating without speaking to. Von Miller, don't forget, is on this defense now.
Really?
I totally
chicken
forgot
farmer?
that.
Yeah, chicken farmer's out there, man.
Still playing?
And healthy. They've got a couple of guys on the end, too. Is it Deron Sprangler? They've got a couple of defensive ends that look like world records, and the Commanders are a good football team. I do think the Giants, their play calling, I put it more on Dable than Russell Wilson, but Russell Wilson looked old. He looked a lot older than what we have seen in the past. I don't know how you have 8 tries from the 5-yard line and you can't get it in. Not in the NFL, man. I can see this for some lesser than teams in college football, but in the NFL, I don't know. That was very telling for me that Dan Quinn and the Commanders have a better coaching staff than what the New York Giants possess there on Sunday. We'll see. They got your Cowboys?
Got the Cowboys.
Dallas is at home, I believe, right?
Big one for both
yes.
teams. This is a big fork in the road week 2.
And I'll tell you what, it doesn't get any easier after that. You have the Chiefs at home, and then the Chargers at home, and then you go to New Orleans.
Every team in the league, New Orleans included, every team in the league is tough.
Yeah.
Tough to win.
And then after New Orleans, you come back, it's the Eagles.
Tough to win.
Yeah, so maybe 6 games in, you might have to. God, he might not still be walking after 6 games. We don't know what Russell Wilson's going to look like after some of these teams they got to play coming up.
I'm afraid for Cam Ward's health. I was watching some of those replays, the Broncos-Titans game.
I'll tell you what.
That's a kid they're throwing in the fire. We'll see if you survive.
Exactly.
We'll see if you survive.
Talk about underwhelming, though. Bo Nix and the Broncos, they got the win. They were the largest favorite of any team in the league this week, and it was neck and neck deep into the fourth quarter.
Ask Cam Ward how he feels about that game. He's probably got ice on his butt.
I believe it.
Got ice everywhere. I bet you he hasn't got out of bed yet. I bet you they flew him back. He got, reacclimated with sea level, and he's been in an ice tub since. Probably get out there tomorrow to warm up the arm, see if he can still throw. It's going to be a long football season for that kid.